It sounds wonderful to hear German troops speaking. Everyone is sure of victory, conscious of their might. You hear no melancholy talk, no bleak forecasts.
Florence Farnborough, a British nurse with the Russian Red Cross, travelled with her camera along the Eastern Front. Her nursing team went by horse cart to Gorlitzer. They had no idea 1/3 Germans and Austrians were massing to attack the town.
We have already chosen our hospital. It is a well-built house with several nice, airy rooms. We are surrounded by the Carpathians. I love watching them at night, when the mountains lie mysteriously quiet and passive. Then the wounded started to arrive. They came in their hundreds from all directions, some able to walk, others crawling, dragging themselves along the ground.
As the Germans got near, Florence's team was ordered to evacuate.
And the wounded? They shouted to us when they saw us leaving, called out to us in piteous language to stop. We had to wrench our skirts from their clinging hands.
Caught by surprise and low on shells, the Russians retreated. Infantryman Miaskovsky wrote to his friend, the composer Sergei Prokofiev.
My dearest Seryozhenka, we're in a state of unstoppable panicked retreat. Our troops are melting away like snow. Only 600 to 700 survived out of a 3,000-strong regiment in one day alone.
The Russian army fled, but not towards the negotiating table. They scorched the earth. Vasily Mishnin retreated through the village of Dombrovo.
The locals received us well, but in the evening, when the Cossacks arrived and began to drive them out with cruelty, then there were tears and grief and cursing of the war.
The Russians were looking for scapegoats, and the Jews of Eastern Europe fitted the bill. They didn't look Russian, and their language, Yiddish, sounded suspiciously like German. In 1914, there were 4 million Jews in the Russian Empire. Battered by pogroms and denied rights allowed the Tsar's other minorities, Jews were forced to live in specified areas, known as the Pale of Settlement. And even though 650,000 Jews served in the army, many Russian officers and men saw Jews as dirty, half-human creatures.
First of April 1915. The Ruskies make fun of the Jews, saying they can munch their matzos for now. But when Passover's finished, they'll sort them out. Send them to Siberia.
Helena Yablonska lived at number 20, Franciszek Street, in the heart of Old Przemysl. A third of the town's population were Jews. They'd been safe enough there under the Austro-Hungarians, but now Helena watched the Russians root them out within days of taking over.
Tuesday, the 30th of March. Jews are treated with no mercy. They cut the beard and sideburns off the old rabbi from Birja, then strapped him to a horse and dragged him away. They beat his wife. Jews are not allowed to own any shops. Saturday, the 17th of April. The Cossacks waited till the Jews went off to pray, then set upon them with whips, taking them from synagogues, streets and doorsteps. Many hundreds of Jews. What'll they do with them? Some of the older, weaker ones couldn't keep up and were whipped. The roundup will go on till they've caught the lot. Such lamenting and despair. Some hide in cellars, but the Russians will find them.
No one knows how many Jews were killed in Eastern Europe during the First World War. 600,000 were uprooted, of whom 200,000 never returned home. After their experiences under the Russians, many Jews looked to the Germans for better treatment. German officers entered the main Jewish street of Mlawa, north of Warsaw. The Germans tried to win the support of Jews in Eastern Europe by promising them liberation from the Russian yoke. Meanwhile, the assimilated Jews of Germany showed their patriotism by joining up. Emma and Fritz Schlesinger see their friend Ludwig Bornstein off to the front, one of 100,000 Jews who fought for the Kaiser. German Jewish soldiers mark Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, in 1916. 12,000 were killed in the war. Nearly 30,000 received decorations. But while Jews were tolerated within the German army, many soldiers despised them. Ernst Nopper passed columns of refugees, forced out of their homes by the Russians, are now returning.
I couldn't bear to watch as a Polish family struggled on foot while the entire lazy Jewish population travelled on carts. I hauled a Jew off and gave his arse a good kicking before making the 3 Poles with all their baggage climb up onto the cart. I let everyone know that I would have all the Jews shot if they didn't let the Poles continue on their journey.
The breakthrough continued through the summer. This was the greatest victory of the Central Powers in the war, seizing present-day Poland, Lithuania, parts of Belarus, and the Ukraine. As the Germans advanced, they entered a world half destroyed. German troops convert Russian railway lines to the narrower German gauge. Rebuilding the communication system became a key task, rich in symbolic meaning. Germany aimed to recast Poland as an independent state, but under her wing. Advancing troops saw themselves as bringing civilizing order and discipline.
That which seemed forever lost was created anew by the German battalions of Kultur. The German spirit blows through the poor land, and new life rises up out of the ruins.
But that's not how it worked out, however keen the Germans were to present a caring image to their newsreel audiences. American woman Laura de Turchanovich lived in the occupied town of Suwałki near the Lithuanian border. To her, the rebuilt railways and roads weren't bridges between cultures. They were Germany's means of whipping war booty back home.
Furniture was carted daily to East Prussia. The woods were cut down, every agricultural implement taken, every woman outraged. All Poland was to be emptied and carted away, beaten into the bargain, and made to pay such terrible contributions.
Faced with a chronic labor shortage, and with little love for Slav or Russian, the German army began transporting men to the west for forced labor. The American Red Cross distributes food aid to starving Polish peasants. Reluctant to feed conquered populations, the German army became increasingly obsessed with cataloguing them. Everyone over 10 was to be documented, and nearly 2 million photo passes were issued. The Germans also began to view the East as a place of disease and started large-scale disinfecting programs. On the 17th of October 1915, the German Field Medical Commander ordered that all railway crossings on the eastern border be sealed off. Everyone crossing the frontier had to be deloused before setting foot on German soil. Winter 1915. The racial war of Teuton versus Slav neared its peak. German and Austro-Hungarian forces moved south to destroy Serbia. This would win control of the Balkans, final revenge for the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. And they had a new ally, Bulgaria, tempted by Germany's military muscle and certain this was the winning side. The bait dangled before Bulgarian leader Ferdinand was the promise of vast swathes of Serbia. Born in Vienna, Ferdinand had few sympathies for his Slav neighbors.
The purpose of my life is the destruction of Serbia.
On the 6th of October 1915, a joint German-Austro-Hungarian force invaded Serbia, taking the capital in just 2 days. The Bulgarian army then entered from the southeast. The Serbs' only way out of their country was into Albania, but that lay across treacherous mountain ranges. As their enemies' claws closed around them, the Serbian army slipped away, and the people fled with them. Serbian photographer Risto Marjanovic